Alright, no funny intros today, no messing about. I'm going to make this as easy a start as physically possible. A bit like these 5 teams I'm about to talk about in this FPL video. Oh, smooth, so smooth. Yes, hello everyone, back again with another FPL video, and today we are focusing on the teams that have the best fixtures from game weeks 1 to 8. Obviously there's going to be a bit of overlapping with personnel in terms of the previous videos that I've done on budget players and this and that and the other, because I've been talking about players that are good picks because of their fixtures. So if you see the same people come up again, that's why. But we're focusing more on the teams as a whole rather than just specific personnel, but I will be picking one player from each team that I think could really help benefit your FPL team. As a quick note, thank you so much for all the support we're getting on the other episodes within this little mini series of FPL that I'm doing. If you are enjoying them, please remember to drop a like on the video, share and subscribe to the channel for more videos like this. Well, we'll kick off this little rundown by starting with one of the big teams. Oh wait, sorry, I had a Tottenham player on there. Genuine mistake. Only joking, Spurs fans. Sort of. But on a serious note, Tottenham have absolutely fantastic opening fixtures, at least up until game week 8. As you can tell there is only one fixture in there at an FDR rating of difficulty, and that is away to Manchester United, who aren't exactly the strongest at the back either. And then an away trip to Turf Moor. Other than that, they've got very, very good fixtures. Everton, Southampton, Newcastle, West Ham, Brighton and West Bromwich Albion, to name, I was going to say a few, but actually that's pretty much all the fixtures apart from the ones I just mentioned. There are loads of positions you could obviously pick. For Spurs, you could pick Hugo Lloris or Eric Dyer as one of the cheaper defensive options that are going to play probably the majority of minutes. They'll give you good defensive returns, and knowing Jose Mourinho, Spurs are probably going to be a bit stronger at the back. Actually, 7 of their clean sheets, which they picked up last year, were once Jose Mourinho was in charge, so one to watch out for in that respect. In terms of midfielders, you probably only really want Heung-min Son, or maybe as an outside pick, Lo Celso, who comes at 7 million, but Heung-min Son at 9 million is probably your best out-and-out chance of doing a midfielder. But if you were going to pick anyone from the Spurs team, it would have to probably be the big man up front and talismanic striker Harry Kane. Always guaranteed to get you goals, and obviously has not reached the 20 goal mark in the last couple of seasons of FPL, mainly down to injury more than anything else. He's been in scintillating form under Jose Mourinho since he took charge towards the back end of last season, and I have to say that he is one player that I am regretting not having in my lineup right now, because I feel that at least in the first few game weeks he could be absolutely gold dust. He's kind of got rid of the reputation of not being particularly that good in August, and technically it's not August anymore, the season's starting in September, so if anything it works out even better for Harry Kane. I think he is potentially a must-have. Next up is a team I've been talking non-stop about really since I started these FPL videos, and that is of course Southampton. The South Coast Club have a brilliant start to the season, pretty much almost up until game week 10 to be honest. You can tell it on the FDR rating, considering the fact that they are a mid-table team. These ratings they've got are absolutely brilliant. The only real difficult fixtures lining up there potentially are Spurs at home, Chelsea away, Wolves away and Manchester United at home, but that's until game week 10. If you're literally looking at game week 8, there are only 3 fixtures that have an FDR rating of 3 or above, and that is against Spurs, Burnley and Chelsea. But in and amongst that are home ties against West Bromwich Albion, Everton and Newcastle, as well as away fixtures against Crystal Palace and Aston Villa. Southampton were actually better away from home last year and picked up more points on the road than they did at home at St Mary's, so actually it looks even better when you look at it from the away games perspective. I've talked at length about the different players that you can get from Southampton that I think are worthy of your points. Not particularly defensively, because at the back they're not that great, even with new signing Salisu, but I think will be very good for them. Alex McCarthy is the one player, if I was going to pick anyone from the Southampton back lineup, will probably be my choice, because he's going to get the save bonuses. He's probably going to be worked a little bit overtime, and there is the off chance of a clean sheet. Going forward, however, in midfield you've got loads of options. You've got James Ward-Prowse, Redmond, Stuart Armstrong, who finished the season very well. Gineppo, if he can keep fit, is also another really good option. Che Adams up front is the alternative striker, but naturally if you were going to have a bit of money available, you would always want to pick Super Danny Ings. And the reason you want to pick Danny Ings is that he is Saints' #1 striker. Even though he formed quite a nice partnership with Che Adams, that is still up for debate at the moment. One thing that is not up for debate is that Danny Ings is Southampton's main marksman, and I fully expect him to pick up and carry on the way that he did last season. 22 goals last year, you cannot ignore it. 22 goals, 2 assists. Maybe assist-wise you would expect a little bit more, but if he continues to get anywhere near that tally again, he is a must-have at 8.5 million, an absolute must-have. Now, a team I have not spoken about on my FPL videos so far at length is Fulham. The Cottagers, newly promoted from the Championship, have got an absolutely blistering start to the season FDR, and you do think that if they have any chance of staying up, they're going to need to pick up a lot of points within the early parts of the season. Granted, it's not the easiest start at home to Arsenal on the opening day, but when you look at it after that, it's not too bad. They have 6 fixtures in the first opening 10 game weeks that have an FTR rating of 2. The only really difficult fixtures they have in there on paper anyway are of course the Arsenal game, Wolves and Sheffield United, but within that first 9 game weeks, only one game is rated at an FTR of 4. So potentially they are a cheap gold mine if they start the season really well, not like they did last time they came up into the Premier League. In terms of who you want to pick, there's many that you can pick. Obviously, Mitrovic is the man that stands out above all else. He got 26 goals in the Championship last year, has Premier League pedigree, has been there, done it before, and got a double goal haul last time he was here with 11 goals and 4 assists. Another one that maybe not many people are thinking about is Neeskens Cabano. He takes the free kicks, and he was in very, very hot direct free kick form towards the end of the Championship last season and finished off the season in brilliant form and has probably nailed himself down a starting position. But for me, for a little bit more money, at £5 million, you could get Joe Bryan, playoff final hero, obviously with the 2 goals that got Fulham promoted. But for me, Joe Bryan is a brilliant shout. Fulham are a lot more defensively solid under Scott Parker than they were last time they came out to the Premier League. And yes, it is one thing to be solid defensively in the Championship compared to the Premier League, but at the same time the attacking returns you can also get from Joe Bryan probably just about make up for it. He's valued at £5 million, which is more than any other Fulham defender, but there is a good reason for that. Like I said, it's not just the defence, it's also the attacking returns that you're going to get from Joe Bryan. He's also a candidate for taking free kicks and set pieces. I think that Joe Bryan is not a must-have, but if you were going to pick a Fulham player other than Mitrovic to start your season, I'd probably go with him. Another team that are going under the radar very much this season are Leicester City, who obviously overperformed brilliantly last year to finish in a Europa League spot after being pipped by United on the last day of the season. There are a couple of fixtures here that are putting people off of Leicester City players, most notably Manchester City away and Arsenal away. But when you have a closer look, those are the only 2 games that have an FDR of 4 or higher, and even the games that do have a 3 are home games against Burnley and against Wolves. And at the King Power, Leicester is still very, very good. You look at the other fixtures they've got: West Brom away, newly promoted, West Ham at home, usually tend to struggle at the start of the season, Aston Villa at home, Leeds away. There's some decent fixtures in there. I've talked at length about the qualities that James Justin provides as a cheap way into your Leicester back 4, and we don't need to say anything more about Jamie Vardy. He's obviously FPL proven, an incredible goal scorer at this level, but as he enters the twilight of his career, is he the man you want to pin your hopes on for Leicester? If I was to pick a Leicester player at the moment, it would probably be this man, Harvey Barnes. £7 million, that is what makes him stand out to me. A guy who plays in Brendan Rodgers' preferred 4-3-3 system, out on the left-hand side or on the right. He finished off the season very strongly last year and had a pretty decent return. 6 goals and 10 assists for a player as young as he is not a bad shout. He's also a good differential as he is only owned by 4.7% of owners in the game. Like I said, his fixtures are very good. He's a very talented player and seems to have cemented himself in on that left-hand side in Brendan Rodgers' team. Maybe he's a man to consider. And the last team, of course, could only be Manchester United. Now, I can see what you're thinking is, well, we don't even have the game in game week 1, Mike, so what are you talking about? Look at the rest of them. Even until game week 11, United's fixture list is very, very kind. There is not one game until game week 11 where they have an FDR rating of 4. There are 5 3 FDR ratings in there, but other than that, nothing that you wouldn't expect United to potentially get through. And I have to say, they've been very lucky in terms of the top 6 draws as well, because they've got Tottenham at home, Chelsea at home, and Arsenal at home. So 3 of the big 6 they play at home. Even Man City they play at home as well at the first half of the season. So if you were going to take a punt on some United players and start bringing them in for game week 2, look no further than, of course, Bruno Fernandes. Penalty maestro, penalty taker extraordinaire, penalty winner extraordinaire, even when he's fouling other people. Yeah, I'm still a bit bitter about the Villa penalty, but in a genuine note, the guy is absolutely brilliant. We touched on him in the last episode. 8 goals, 8 assists in only half a season. Amazing, just amazing. He's transformed Manchester United, and I do expect him to continue that, and he will be their #1 midfielder. There's no getting around it. Say what you want about Donny van de Beek and Pogba and how they're going to rotate everyone around. 9 times out of 10, Bruno Fernandes is going to play. They've built their attack around him. He is the man that you want to have in your team. There's no point going for the goalkeepers because no one knows at the moment, including Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, I think, if Henderson or David De Gea is going to play. Defensively, you could have Luke Shaw. Midfield-wise, there's not just Fernandes. You've got Rashford, you've got Greenwood, you've obviously got Pogba, maybe Donny van de Beek is worth a punt. And then up front, obviously, you've got Anthony Martial. So there's loads of attacking options, but for a guy who's guaranteed to play and has got proven Premier League quality from the time that he has spent on the pitch, it is, of course, Bruno Fernandes. I'm definitely going to try and get him into my team if I can. So there you have it, my top 5 picks for teams that have the best early fixtures in the league this year. And obviously a little tip on a player that's going to help me get one step ahead of the game. But maybe you know better. If you do, then why not come and prove it by taking me on in fantasy football in my league, the MikeRo Invitational. The code is down in the description, and while you're down there you will find all the lovely little links for the rest of my social media, which I'm trying to be a little bit more active on. And while you're there, drop a like on the video, share, subscribe, and make sure that you stay tuned for everything coming on the MikeRo channel. We're nearing the start of the new game cycle this year, and there are going to be big changes to the channel, which I'm hoping everybody will be there to enjoy. Until I see you for another episode of my FPL series or anything else going on the rest of the channel, take care of yourselves everyone, and stay cool.